Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of CR Exposed. On today's episode we are looking at the Stone Golem from the Monster Manual 2025 edition. So let's go ahead and crack this guy open. So first off we're going to go ahead and put in the AC of 18, starting with the defenses. This is a large construct, so we're going to go ahead and switch that over just to make sure we get the dice correct. 21 D10, wow, that is quite a lot. We are looking for a 10 for our expected CR, so we're going to go ahead and pop that in for now. That helps calculate specific instances here. And from there, we will go ahead and start putting in the stats for our giant construct, well, large construct. We have 22 strength, 9 dexterity, 20 constitution, 3 intelligence, 11 wisdom, and 1 charisma. From there, we have immunities to poison, psychic, charmed, exhaustion, frightened, paralyzed, petrified, and poisoned. Since we only have 2 immunities, we don't have to worry about updating this. So after that, we do have dark vision. That is going to be bypassed. We also have languages here, but that doesn't matter. And we will move down into the traits. As for the traits, we have immutable form, which is another item that doesn't matter. We can just skip right over that. But while we are looking at the other traits, we do have magic resistance. Surprisingly enough, we don't have legendary resistances with this as well. But the magic resistance will give our stone golem here a +2 effective AC bonus. And with our traits done and out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at the actions of our stone golem. We have 2 attacks using Slam or Force Bolt in any combination. So we will start with a 2d8, and then that's also going to likely be Strength for a total of 15 points of damage, which we can see reflected here, plus an additional 2d8 for its force damage on the Slam. And that will give us the 9 there. So we will go ahead and add those 2 in to give us our total attack for the Slam, which is going to be 24 points of damage. And then we will then look at the Force Bolt and add in the damage for that. So we're just dealing 4d10 force damage. And there's no modifiers, so it's just basically similar to a cantrip almost in damage. We'll go ahead and add that into our second attack. And we'll see that we have 24 or 22. Now, we do have 2 attacks in any combination. So what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and add in our Slam ×2, our Force Bolt ×2, and then lastly we will go ahead and put in the combination of the 2 of 1 Slam and 1 Force Bolt. So we'll see that we end up with an even 46 on average. Your dice may vary. Alright, we have our actions here, and then we have one more item to look at. Our bonus action for the Stone Golem. The Stone Golem can cast Slow without any components and uses its Constitution as its spellcasting ability. So what we'll do here is this is a level 3 transmutation spell, and I will go ahead and grab the level 3 information from my spell lookup here. So what we'll do is come down to here, look up Slow, and we'll see that we are getting 27 effective DPR for this. So we come back to the tool, we'll do our conversions here. 27 effective DPR is the same as roughly 67 effective hit points. So we can do this once, and then that's it. So we will go ahead and leave that for all 3 rounds of combat. In theory, the target will be slowed the entire time. So we will just go ahead and add that in from the effective hit points over here, and we'll have that bumped up. Alright, we have all of our actions taken care of. Let's start calculating damage here and see if we actually get a CR10. So since our attacks are a 10 and a 9, I'm just going to leave it as a 10. We could do the average of 9.5, but that's just going to mess up my tool. My tool doesn't always like averages. You know, in this case, we're going to round up because it doesn't tell us not to. If the numbers seem a little off, maybe I'll put down the 9 for the average between the Force and the Slam, but in any event, we're just going to go with that because we're going to also then use in the concentration area here, which throws it right into the full attack, we're going to use the average of the 46 for any combination of the 2. And it looks like we are way over on our CR here. As the tool is showing us, we have very low damage, very high defensive capabilities, and this tells me this is more of a tank. This is definitely a tank character, so, you know, if we were doing battle tactics or something, you would definitely want your Stone Golem up front. and then having some kind of support from the back, archers, magic users, any kind of range damage that is using this, maybe it's like a wizard that's controlling this, or a sorcerer or sorceress controlling this golem, and then going ahead and attacking while the stone golem is up ahead dealing some kind of damage but absorbing a lot. So what are we doing here? First of all, let's go ahead and remove the bonus action slow. Maybe it doesn't last. Maybe it's only, good for one round. So first of all, let's change the calculation here. So instead of it being 67, we're going to go round down. We'll take the 67 divided by 3, and we'll have 22 hit points. Well, that shifts our CR to an 11. We still have very high CRs going on here. Let's remove it entirely and see what happens. Sure enough, now we have a proper CR10. So if we backtrack a little bit here, from these calculations, we have 67 extra hit points from the slow, because that will stop one target from doing stuff effectively. If we go back to the spell damage lookup just to make sure, that should be for one target. I believe the target, on slow is normally 1. In this case, if you're using slow and the slow lands, in theory, we're going to have ourselves a defensive CR of 16, an offensive CR of 9, and then average it out to technically 12.5, rounding up a CR 13. But to easily fix this, don't use slow. That's how we fix it. And we still have a tank though. Now with the slow out of this, we still have, we have a defensive CR of 11, the offensive CR of 9. Obviously our golem here has very low damage, so don't expect this golem to be putting out a lot of damage. This is strictly here to absorb damage from the players, and technically it's a little hard to hit, but as you'll see here, because this darker red is up higher, this tells me that the attack bonus is much higher than the expected, which obviously we can see between a 6 and a 10 here. If we switch this to 9, it might shift it a little down, but our overall CR doesn't change either. So between a 9 and a 10, that's still perfectly fine, but our golem is going to hit. Because it's got a higher chance to hit thanks to this darker red being higher than the main line here, we're seeing we are hitting more often, but for not a lot of damage for the current level that players will be facing a CR10. And then on top of that, its defenses, not, an okay amount of hit points. It's actually got the hit points for a CR10, but because its AC is 18, which is 1 over plus the magic resistance, we are shifting up 1. So that's why it's actually a little harder technically for magic users to hit this golem, because of that advantage on magic resistances, but only for saves, not for direct damage. So if you're slinging, flame bolts and other things that you have to make an attack roll, no problem. The player can hit this. But when it comes to saves of any type, magical saves, I should say, and other magical effects, then it's going to be harder for spellcasters primarily to deal with this. Otherwise, if we get rid of the magical resistance and it's primarily melee groups, we still have ourselves a CR10, but it's much easier for melee to hit than our spellcasters. So all in all, it's still a balanced monster. There's really no way to give this a proper balance based on, who knows. You could have a very melee heavy group, you could have a very magic heavy group. If you have a lot of magic users in your group, then the stone golem is going to be probably a bit of a nightmare for them to deal with. But if you have a lot of melee in your group and very few casters, then the stone golem is going to be a little easier to deal with. Again, as I always say, your dice may vary. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like what I'm doing here and you'd like to get this tool for yourself, look at the link in the description below where you can go to my Ko-fi page where you can get the tool for free, completely for free, or you can donate if you feel so obliged to. You can also support the channel in a variety of different ways where you can also download and check out some of the subclasses I have, like the Ronin subclass, or you can get a bunch of monsters. There's also actual classes that I'm working on, like the Performer class, the Gunslinger class, or the Chemist class, and some others that are in the works. You can also purchase some of the scripts and monsters that I've created for D&D 5th edition or Tales of the Valiant here. You can also become a Ko-fi supporter where you can donate as little as $1 a month to get early access to videos and behind the scenes content that I'm doing for the channel. Or you can also join me here on YouTube and become a member here as well for, again, as little as much as $1 a month, where you can get early access to videos that I make as soon as they're posted. Or you can also comment, like, share, subscribe to the hundreds of other videos that I have here on my channel. Any support is greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.